Welcome back to Unladylike Opinions. This is Life After Lockup, Love After Lockup, Season 3, Episode 55, Confessions of a Serial Liar. So we're going to continue on. We're going couple by couple because I ain't got time to go whatever. So, up first, Sean and Sarah. So, Sean getting the house ready for Sarah to, spend the weekend with him or whatever. And, he's happy as I don't know what. So, Sarah pulls up and he meets her in the driveway. She said she was nervous and sad to be away from her mom and her daughter for a whole weekend. She gonna regret all that. So Sean, when he walks her in the house, he has this little picnic set up inside because he said it was too cold to do one outside, so he decided to do one in the house, which was cute. But they feeding each other strawberries, and I'm like, ew. Ugh. So he asked her how her mom felt about her coming over, and she said they got into it about it. And she said she doesn't think that Sean is going to make her make the wrong decisions, but her mama thinks that this is going to affect her judgment, with decision making. And he said he's not going to come in between. He's not going to come in between anything, and he wants her to stay healthy and clean, so he doesn't care what people think. After they get through all this smacking, kissing they doing, he leads her upstairs to the bedroom where they got like long stem roses all over the bed and candles and stuff. And she said she does want to have sex with him, but she is nervous because she haven't had sex in 6 years, and she can't recall having sex with a man, emphasis on man, while she was sober. So they taking their clothes off or whatever, and they get on into it or whatever. And she said, "You got a condom," and I was like, "Good job." And he pulled out the box, and it's some magnums, and I'm like, but I'm gonna let you have it. Then he kicked the camera crew out the room, whatever. And after they get through doing what they doing, they land in the bed. And he asked her, how was it? And she was like, it was good. And she said he knew it had been a long time for her, and he was she said he knew it had been a long time for her, and she said, he was patient and sweet. And he tells her that he told her he just had to ruin the moment. Like, you couldn't tell her this before y'all had sex or whatever. I don't understand. Oh, I guess because you knew you weren't gonna get it if you told her this. So he told her after the fact that he had to be honest and tell her something. And he tell her he had 6 kids. And he didn't want to tell her because he didn't want her to freak out. She tells him to spill it all, and he tells her he was engaged to Destiny, another inmate. And she gets up and starts putting her clothes on, and she said, "You freak." He said, and she said, "You freaked out because I hid one kid from you, and you got several you hid from me." Sean said him dating another inmate doesn't have anything to do with anything. And Sarah was like, "Well, why were you scared to tell me if it doesn't matter or whatever?" And she was like, "My mom was right about Sean." She asked him how long ago was it, and he tries to play it off like he didn't know. And she finally gets him to tell the truth, and he said 6 months ago. And she said, "So that's why you fell out talking to me." So basically, I was the backup. And she gets upset. She throws a drink in his face, and she gets her luggage, go down them stairs, and he tried to stop her, and she was like, "Don't!" And she walked on out that door, baby. And I don't know why. I've been watching too many TikTok videos with New Orleans people on it, so I need to stop doing it or whatever. So here we go. Brittany and Ray. I don't know who irks me the worst, Brittany and Ray or Deontay. I take that back. So she in the car driving to go find Ray, and she's still mad he ain't invite her to the cousin house or whatever. But Brittany in this hat needs to go home because his hat killing me. So she said she been texting and calling him all day, and he hasn't answered. He got a GPS tracker. She got a GPS tracker on his phone, so she going over to where he is. So she talk about if it's women there, we done, and he can get out tonight. Like, girl, you're right. So she gets to the house, he opens the door, but she knocks, because she knocks on it like she the popo. And he opens the door, but she barges her way in and was like, where the hoes at? And I'm like, what the hell? And so she get in, and it's just two people, Bink and the other man, I think his name was Mike, I'm not sure. They playing dominoes. So it's just three people in there, they playing dominoes. And she said, you know, I worry about you. And he said, I'm a grown man, and I won't jeopardize my freedom and go back to prison. And the cousin in his confessional, Bink, said, she came to my house and knocked on my door like that. Wow, what a first impression she gave. So she talking about he can't just go and be anywhere. You said your cousin lived down the street. I thought he was a kingpin in a big ass house. And I'm like, what? So she asked, can he hang with felons? And then she asked the little, I think the guy was Mexican, I'm not sure. And she said, you a convicted felon? And he said, I am. And he started laughing. And she spins around and says, see, I proved my point. And she was like, you do have to watch the company you keep, which is true, but girl, come on. Brittany, you ain't care about none of that. You were just trying to see where Ray was. And Ray said, you got to be doing something to get in trouble for the laws to run up on you. She said she done, and tells him he should come home. Ray said he is shocked by the things she said. He said he is shocked by the things that she said, and he thinks she crazy. You just now thinking it? Ray ain't gonna be with Brittany long. So they go outside, and he tell her just go home, and he gonna be there in a few minutes. And she mad because he not leaving now with her and making her look like a fool. Ray said, you a fool for not believing me. Now go home and calm down. Ray said he been in prison for 4 years and was told what to do. He not trying to do that again. Ray took his ass in the house, and Brittany drives off. Ray said women are crazy, and he shouldn't have jumped up and leave. He shouldn't have to jump up and leave just because she said so. And the friend Mike was like, you just have to build that trust up with her, and she been thinking about the time you been gone. And his cousin Bink said, you know, she trying to avoid not seeing you again. And Ray said he gonna make his way on home. See, Brittany, you out there calling them all types of different names, and they actually agree with your dummies. So Ray makes it to the house, and she's sitting on the couch like on Reddit with her little silk robe or whatever it was, waiting on him with this badass wig yet again. And she gonna say, you let me leave angry. And Ray said, you chose to get mad. And she said, why she can't come first? And if he was answering his phone and communicating with her, she wouldn't have went off like that. And she was like, I wouldn't have popped up or whatever. She like, you not checking your surroundings over there hanging with felons. And Ray said, it ain't like we was out in the club. And she said, you got a lot to lose. Do you want to lose me? And I'm like, oh, see, there it is. It's all about her. So Ray just looking in the air and says, how can we be in a relationship if you don't trust me? And Brittany said, everything you told me when you was laying in that cot in prison, you need to act like that. Girl, they tell you that while they in there. Then when they get out, all gas, no brakes, like I said. And Brittany said, she walks off and she throws some cover at him and a pillow and said, don't talk to me no more. Go to Bink. And I'm like, girl, whatever. So Ray brings Brittany breakfast in bed the next morning. And I'm like, why? And she said she can take a little responsibility because her intentions were pure. And she said she thinks she did overreact, but he should have picked up his phone. And he said it was a mistake that would happen. He said it was a mistake and it won't happen again. And she said, I bet your cousin think I'm psychotic, and I'm like, and you are, but go ahead. And Ray said, he just thinks she care. No, Ray said his cousin said he just thinks she cares. And she said she cared about him and gonna do everything to hold him down, and she is not trying to control him. Ray said, oh, you not? Like, girl, stop lying. He was like, he wants her to trust him and trust that he won't put himself in any situation that'll take him back to jail. And hold on, move this camera. And she said, look at what all you have overcame. And if we get sent back to prison over some fluke stuff, my mom is never going to accept you. And I'm like, Brittany, listen to me. You the one dating him, not your mama. She got a whole husband over there, which is your daddy. Let her worry about him, and you worry about Ray. Because you're going to forever be living your life worried about what your mama going to think. You grown. You take care of yourself. If you want to be with that man, be with that man. Stop trying to get your mama approval. Moving on. So, Ray said it shouldn't be like that because his family had opinions about her, but they got over it because this is what he wanted. And she wants him to be close with her mom. And I'm like, girl, that is not going to happen. So here we go with Brittany and Marcelino. With this tired story that they done came up with so they can stay on this show, if you ask me, because they really ain't got nothing else going on. So Marcelino and Brittany's son is outside or whatever. I guess he was riding his bike or whatever. And Marcelino calls Brittany's stepfather and says he's been being a good husband, supporting his wife and helping her get back on her feet. And he wants the stepfather to come out, to fly out and help him with the kids so they can have a night out finally. He said he would love to come down and send them somewhere romantic and get them a break. He thinks Gil, which is the stepfather, can talk some sense into Brittany and get her to listen because he hadn't been able to get her to listen to what he was saying to get her to calm down. And he then tells the son to keep this a secret. Don't tell mom. And I was like, that ain't even gonna work out. And as soon as they get back to the house, the little boy come in the house, talking about how hard it is or whatever. And he tells her how he fell off his bike and got an hour. And then he said, I got a surprise for you, Mom. And Marcelino was like, it ain't been 10 minutes, LOL. And Marcelino tells him to go play some video games. And he says, that boy can't keep a secret for nothing. And Brittany said, you trusted a 6-year-old with a secret? Exactly. And he tells her that the stepfather was coming down to talk to her. And she said she appreciates what he was trying to do. But she has disappointed her dad enough her whole life. And at her wedding, he finally told her how proud of her he was. And that was, the first time he ever said that to her. And now she doesn't feel so proud of herself. And she doesn't know how to let that feeling go. And she gets up and walk off. And she said she tired of talking about this. And it's the last thing that she needs is more chores to prepare for her stepfather to come. And Marcelino said, I was just trying to help out. And Brittany gets an email. And it kind of spooked her. So as soon as Marcelino come in, she closed the laptop. And I'm like, why was she? So you see her, she goes straight to her mama house because she said she had to go straight to the source. So her mama staying with someone, and I think she dog sitting for the person or whatever, as in exchange to stay there. I guess that's how it was. And she said she chose not to go to rehab, but she is doing good so far, but she still doesn't trust it because this is, the normal for her. And she shows her mom that her biological dad reached out to her and wanted to meet her and her kids. And her mom said, he never been in your life. And Brittany said, because you took me away from him. And the mom was like, he was an abusive man, physically, emotionally abusive. And she took her kids out of that situation. She tells Brittany to make her own decision on rather meeting him or not, just be cautious. She was like, it's your decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's up to you. So Brittany said her stepdad is the only dad that she's known. And now she got to explain to him that her bio dad wants to come back into her life. So here we go with Hugh Hefner and Kendra. You're going to hell for that. Stan and Lisa. So Lisa over there trying to get Renata to help her set up Stan and dress up like the Jasmine girl that she using as a catfish. So Renata was like, if he try to touch me or something, and I'm like, I know that's right, Renata, cause So Lisa talking about she think she was like, she'll never let her get that far because she gonna be right behind her. So Lisa talking about she think God put Stan in her path for a reason because he need to learn how to treat someone. Now Lisa, I'm sick of you using the good Lord's name in vain to prove a point with your dumb analogies. Girl, stop playing with him. And she talking about Stan got this coming, and Renata like, what if he have a heart attack? Lisa said she gonna act like she knows CPR. Bitch. She said she gonna act like she knows CPR. So Renata said if you can get me the good wigs, I'll think about it. Renata said let's forget about Stan and get in this hot tub. Lisa come out in a swimsuit, and Lisa swears she fine. You can't tell Lisa she ain't fine, baby. You can't tell her nothing. So then we get over to Stan, and he over there on his balcony stripping, talking about some getting him a tan or whatever. And I'm like, Stan is such creepy. So he said Lisa hasn't been answering her texts, and he don't know what to do. So Lisa said Stan think he is Brad Pitt, and she never seen a 65-year-old man jumping on a trampoline in a freaking thong. And I'm like, that girl love to embarrass Stan, baby. She gonna tell all Stan business. Stan, you better. So Renata said, Peepaw gone wild when I tell you I was on this floor hollering. So Renata asked Lisa if she missed being with women, and of course she said she do. She said there has always been a attraction between her and Renata. She said she hasn't dealt with a woman since she been out because she was dealing with Stan. And Renata said if Stan was to come to the hotel right now and find her and Lisa in bed, she think he would lose it, and he gonna get her locked back up so he can be the only one to have her. And I'm like, girl, go on with y'all scamming self. She gonna get her tail locked up on her own. So Stan picks Lisa up from the hotel. So apparently Lisa and Renata got into it last night, because this the next morning. They got into it last night. Renata said she ain't want to confront Stan as the Jasmine girl, and she ain't with this plot. So Stan said, Lisa was acting weird, but he had a surprise for her, and he wanted to, trigger her athletic mind. So they went rock climbing, and as he's going up there, up the rock climbing wall, Lisa gonna say, I seen this view before, the back of Stan. I'm like, see? And when she get up there, he's, yeah, baby, you're doing it, baby. And I'm like, ugh. Oh, well, I like that view, baby. And I'm like, oh, my God. And so, they hanging from them. They get in the mid ropes as Lisa done went all the way up because Stan couldn't make it up there. As they get down to the bottom, where in the middle, they hang and just sit there and have a conversation. I hope that man didn't have to hold them up the whole time, because baby, they would have been drop fooling with me. And she asked him, has he been talking to someone else? And he said he went out to dinner with his ex Tina, because she left and went to a hotel and didn't say anything. And she said when she walked out the door, he does his own thing. And Stan said she needs to communicate more or where she's going. And she was like, I'm not a child. I'm not have to tell you anything. She asked him again if he's talking to other women, and he said just Tina. And she said, you a lie. Jasmine, and I forgot the whole name. She didn't Portay or some bull crap. And he just did not looking like, huh? So that was the end of them. So I guess we'll find out next episode. So Shane and Lisa. Shane and Lacey. Lacey, what am I doing? Shane and Lacey. So Lacey talk about how hurt she is about the lie detector test and finding out all the secrets that Shane had. So she calls John while he laid up with his girlfriend, and he answers the phones and goes downstairs. She tells him about Shane and the lie detector test. She says she was he was leaving her at the house for 10 hours by herself, and John was like, you know he ain't working, you know, what you think he was doing? And I'm like, oh, shut up, you crackhead. And she tells him what the results said about him, you know, being with other men. And he was like, he doesn't think a married couple should be taking lie detector tests. Like, what are y'all doing? And he told her she made the wrong decision from the beginning. And she said she feels stupid and she missed him and she wants them to meet. John said his girl don't want them talking, and he feels like his girlfriend now is his second chance at finding someone that loves him for him. And John said the past is the past and keep it like that, and cutting Lacey out of his life make things so much less stressful. And he said he will be there for her if anything turns physical between her and Sean, but he gotta go. And he gets off that phone. I'm like, and she laid out on the bed, and I'm like, about time one of y'all ended. And I'm glad John finally came to the sense, because baby, she the one sent you to prison. Again, I mean, it wasn't her fault all the time, you know, whatever, but the last time she sent you to prison. No, when he went so many times, I forgot. But one time she did send him to prison. But that was my review of Life After Lockup, Love After Lockup, whichever one you want to call it. And like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will get back to you guys next week. Bye.